Hi, so I wanted to talk about, of course, what everybody's talking about today. The um, I want to first just say that I don't condone. I think that should be a no-brainer, but unfortunately, there's some really bad about this incident, which I think goes on to explain why toxic masculinity is still prevalent. Is that it is apparent that there's actually quite a bit of women that promote toxic masculinity. Um, this brings up good questions about double standards as well, of course, because Chris Rock is a man. Many people, including women, seem to be okay with somebody getting assaulted that way. Um, as you can see, it was a hard slap. Anybody who saw it could tell you that was a very strong slap, to say the least. Um, so the other problem I think is also um, that there is no nuance in some of the takes about this incident. I think there's dramatic irony in that in Chris Rock's last special that I've seen of him. I don't know if it's his last special, but it was one of his more recent ones. He was talking about the importance of having bullies. Like bullies are important, and he was making fun of schools trying to pretty much get rid of bullies. In his eyes, how schools are trying to monitor bullies, but he was praising bullies, saying that bullies need to exist in school systems and makes men tougher, yada yada yada. And therefore, you have the dramatic irony of the image you see here. Um, but let's not let Chris Rock off the hook as a complete victim. He was, I believe, out of line. Um, I mean, sure, I agree. You can make jokes, even bad, horrible jokes, and shouldn't get smacked in the face. Like I said, there's no reason for Will Smith to do what he did. But also, at the same time, it seems that Chris Rock was, in a sense, bullying Jada Pinkett Smith by making fun of her hair. Now, to put some more nuance, I'm pretty sure that's very likely that Chris Rock didn't know about Jada Pinkett Smith's alopecia um, condition where she has trouble growing hair back. So, I don't know why Chris Rock would make such a terrible joke in the first place, even if he didn't know she had alopecia. I still think it was a bad, lazy joke. Some people think that it was already written. I don't think so. I think it seemed like an ad-lib joke to me. It seemed like he just thought of it on the spot. But it was a bad joke all around. And I guess the end of the short of it, if to summarize, there's no good guys or bad guys here. There's only bad guys. I mean, I'm sorry. I just meant there's no good guys in this situation. There's only bad guys in the sense that both Will Smith and Chris Rock were in the wrong for doing what they did. And that should be pretty much the standard source platform you should build off of. Let's just get that out of the way. They were both in the wrong. Now let's get to some very cringy takes. So first, Tiffany Haddish has one of the worst takes. Tiffany Haddish praises Will Smith for standing up for his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. She also said that. Hold on, I'm sorry. I need to scroll down. She said that. If I could find it. Here we go. I would define tonight as a success. First of all, I have seen a man stand up for his wife, which we don't see that much anymore. That made me have hope. Like, where do we start with that? We don't see that much anymore. Like, what on earth does she mean by this? Like, is she observing every single couple on earth and just like, oh, we don't see men stand up? This is just absurdly stupid. They put her face clearly up on the screen, looked over at his wife. Jada was hurt. They know how I feel. That's my friends. They know. This explains a little more why she's defending. It's just because they're her friends. She doesn't really have a good take. I felt very proud. I felt gratified. I just hope more men are like that. Care about their families. It's not just about you, right? It's not just about you, sir. What about your family, the people you create? The people that help you be who you are, that's important. That's what I think America forgot about. Another stupid line right here. America forgot about what exactly? Slapping people in the face, I guess, is what America's supposed to be forgot to do, I guess. Last time I checked, Americans encounter and cause a lot of violence. There's a lot of violence in America. I don't think they forgot about smacking people in the face. There's a lot of that going around. You could go a World Star Hip Hop or whatever and see somebody get smacked in the face very easily. What are you doing for your family? Who do you protect? So this idea that she needs to be protected by the perpetrator, Chris Rock, who made one lousy joke that didn't even go over well with the audience. The idea that Jada Pinkett Smith, because she's a woman, she's not able to fight for herself, that the man has to use toxic masculinity and just like be violent and aggressive for her honor, is just very old school, like outdated mentality. I just know she better take care of business when they get home, because I know I would if my man did that for me. I'm just saying, hello. That's also cringeworthy. I mean, that's really silly. Like, so just this idea that they're promoting that men have to be violent to have sex, apparently. So all you guys, just find somebody you could smack that's smaller than you, the way Will Smith decided to smack Chris Rock, who was clearly less physical, less and smaller than he is. Yeah, apparently that's the message Tiffany Haddish wants to spread across, is that a guy should find somebody to smack in the face so he could get some when he gets home. This is the kind of high thinking level ideas we have going on here. And I think she even said it was beautiful. She actually said it was beautiful, but it doesn't have that quote here. But I've seen that quote somewhere else where she says one of the most beautiful things she's ever seen is to see somebody get physically assaulted because of a joke. That's pure beauty. All right, here is something else I wanted to bring up. Well, before we move on, I also want to bring up, there's some other cringy responses I've seen that a couple of TV show hosts, particularly women, I heard say, well, he's from West Philly. So that's also another cringeworthy take, like the idea that if you're from like some, tougher part of a city, that you just, it gives you a reason, or it gives you permission to just go smacking people around. It just makes no sense. Kevin Hart is also from West Philly, I believe. Kevin Hart isn't going around smacking people, and he's had plenty of issues with hecklers and people who've talked a lot about his relationship, but I never saw him get in some physical altercation like that. So there's that, and then I wanted to move on to the repercussions. Going back to this original photo was from this article. It says Academy condemns Will Smith's actions at 2022 Oscar, launches formal review around the incident. As listed in the Academy Standard of Conduct document, unacceptable conduct includes physical contact that is uninvited and, in the situation, inappropriate and unwelcome. So obviously that altercation falls under all three of those. It'd be interesting to see what the Academy actually does. Now, I want to bring up something also a lot of people aren't talking about, is that the Academy, the way they responded is pretty much letting it play out. They didn't want to do anything, and the reason is actually a pretty good reason, in that obviously the Academy has struggled with their diversity of nominations, and because of that, especially I'm assuming with the black community of actors and performers, there's a lot of complaints. Even Jada Pinkett Smith herself called for a boycott in 2016 because of lack of diversity, and because obviously the real reason, because Will Smith, her husband, didn't get nominated. But because of that troubling optics that the Oscars has, they had to tread very lightly, and they couldn't just escort Will Smith out, because that would have been a huge backlash. It would have looked like racism, like the Oscars is racist. And especially probably a lot of people in the Academy knew he was going to win the Oscar, and they knew it would look horrible if he actually wins the award and he's not there to celebrate it. It's going to look like as if the Oscars are deeply racist. So this was a very delicate, tricky moment for the Oscars. But I am glad that they are deciding to do something about this, because they can't just let that slide. Of course, that's absurd. So they released a statement. The Academy condemns the actions of Mr. Smith last night's show. We have officially started a formal review around the incident and will explore further action and consequences in accordance with our bylaws, standards of conduct, and California law. Now we know Chris Rock didn't didn't press any charges, and we knew he wouldn't. Obviously, I mean, he's probably at the most humiliated, but at the end of the day, this is just another way he probably will have something to talk about for his upcoming tour. And if you want to know what happens when rich, powerful people, no matter what their color or race is, when they get slapped, they go on tour. And Chris Rock tour is launching days after Will Smith Oscar slap. The tour announced earlier this year includes stops in the US and UK before joining Kevin Hart for a double header. And I'm sure the tour is going to sell out. Everybody's going to want to know what he has to say. At the end of the day, for somebody rich and powerful like Chris Rock, this only helps him. It's the classic example. There's no bad publicity. This is just fruitful for him and the rest of his tour. He's going to have a ton of source material, and we know he's been struggling. His last stand-up comedy, I mean, he's fallen off of grace for a long way, since he used to be like at the top of the comedian chain. He used to be like number one comedian at one point, and he still, in my opinion, has one of the greatest stand-up specials of all time. However, his last special I thought was really bad, and he's lost his touch, in my opinion, and therefore this will only help him get back on his feet. He's gonna have a lot of source material, and he will go on making his millions of dollars, as you know. So at the end of the day, is this important? Was the slap really that important? No, it wasn't, but it kind of was at the same time. It's more complicated than some people like to say that it doesn't matter. I think it does matter because they're both influential people. And the Oscars is a widely broadcast influential event. It does matter. I'm not going to take that really cringy, very trendy take that everybody's taking, like as if it doesn't matter. Violence on broadcast television always matters. Just remember that. So lastly, I want to get into Regina Hall's COVID joke at the Oscars, which I thought was overshadowed by the slap, but I thought it deserved a lot more criticism in that it was really, really bad for many reasons. She had this joke where she just started calling up all the eligible bachelors at the Oscars, and the joke was that she was going to pat them down. She was going to give them a quote-unquote deep COVID test, which had a bunch of sexual insinuation. So Regina Hall's pat down rubbed some viewers the wrong way. She even started frisking. She was joking about frisking all the men that she was calling up, taking them backstage, and then she even started frisking Josh Brolin, who eventually started playing along. Jason Momoa, I must say, even though he's probably going to deny it, he did not seem comfortable at any point of the joke. But sadly enough, he is a man, and there's a double standard that men cannot express how uncomfortable they feel about being harassed by women. And this was a form of sexual harassment. Although we don't know if the guys were told beforehand that she would be doing this. If they were, then it wouldn't be harassment because they're in on the joke. Though it seemed as if she just did this specifically with Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa. It seemed that she just did that as improvisation. That's what it appeared like to me. And I thought it was pretty cringeworthy. Just the joke itself was really cringeworthy. Because there's a disgusting double standard. Imagine if a guy did this joke. Imagine if a guy called all the single women, celebrity movie stars, and said, I'm going to pat them down, do a deep COVID test, and the COVID test is going to be with my tongue, as Regina Hall explained and described. Just imagine if a guy did that. That would be super uncalled for. Everybody's heads would explode. The guy would be banned from the Oscars forever, probably. And it's just, there's a disgusting double standard. It was a lazy, outdated joke. It's not like we haven't heard this kind of joke before. It's a disgusting stereotype, I think, that's been used for some reason with black women. That it's a stereotype that they're just like, trying to get with all these dudes. I don't know why she is picking such an old, outdated joke that was never even that funny in the first place. The joke is tired, worn out. Please just let it die. Stop this disgusting double standard. Let me know what you think in the comments below. That was just my very quick, from the top of my head, response to the whole Academy Awards disaster that happened last night. And yeah, let me know what you think. Thanks for listening.